But in conclusion, Farid, let me just bring you back to West Asia and India. Do you think India has any role at all to play? How do you believe we have any leverage either in West Asia or in Ukraine? Because we keep hearing voices saying we want India to play a role. Is India's best option just to stay away and watch this unfold?
No, I think India has a very viable role, and Prime Minister Modi actually has a role because he's on the international stage. He's often been quite skillful. Look, India has always, despite all the fancy, self-righteous rhetoric, and this goes back to the days of Krishna Menon and Nehru, India actually doesn't play a very big role in foreign policy. It is opportunistic. It largely minds its own business. But if it wanted to, it actually has a very viable role, and I think it would be a very constructive role to play. Look, the war in Ukraine is frozen. There are very few parties who have the credibility to talk to both sides. I would argue there are really only two leaders worldwide, Erdogan of Turkey and Modi in India. So if Prime Minister Modi were to propose some kind of situation where he acts as an intermediary and conveys messages from the Russians to the Ukrainians and vice versa, I think he could play a very constructive role, and I think it would be useful to do it. It would raise India's profile. The question is, does he want, I mean, it's this is one thing that people will begin to realize about the US. To play this role of honest broker and global player, it's a thankless task, because you don't get that much for it, and everybody blames you.
People will be clipping what you're saying now. Farid Zakaria is saying that Erdogan of Turkey and Prime Minister Modi are the two world leaders, you believe, who can play the role of a potential honest broker between Putin and Zelensky.
Correct. And I think Modi even more than Erdogan. This is Modi's great opportunity to be a global statesman, should he want it. I think he would have to get energetically involved, and he would have to, be willing to really be an honest broker. But I think he has the platform, he has the potential, and I think he has the diplomatic skill to do it.
In conclusion, therefore, Farid, do you believe that the world is in a more dangerous place than it was a year ago? We referred briefly to October 7th, 2023, the attack by Hamas. Has that, on the back of what happened in Ukraine, disrupted the world entirely? Are we heading towards a new, more chaotic world order with a, dare I say, weakened United States, irrespective of who comes to power after November 5th? Are we seeing, therefore, a multipolar, weakened world, therefore potentially more disruptive?
The way I would put it, Rajdeep, is we are seeing multiple challenges to the international order that the United States and the West set up in 1945, and that was then expanded after the end of the Cold War. You are seeing a frontal assault to that security system in Europe and to the values, the core values of that system, which are no aggression, no acquisition of territory by force, no legitimization of conquest. That's happening in Europe, at the central arena in Europe. You're seeing in the Middle East an Iranian effort to kind of upend the US-led security system that rests on countries like Saudi Arabia, Israel, and Egypt. You are seeing in East Asia a more quiet effort by China to slowly but steadily replace the United States as the dominant power in the region. So you really have these three arenas, Europe, East Asia, and West Asia, where you are seeing challenges to the existing international order. The question is, will the United States and other countries that believe in that order, and I would argue India benefits enormously from this order and should be willing to play a part, will those countries come together to shore up that order? Because you're right, Rajdeep, the United States is very powerful, but it is no longer so powerful that it can do it all on its own. It needs help.
Okay. Farid Zakaria, as always, wonderful to have you on the show to share your wisdom and give us the big picture as we enter these uncertain times. Thank you so much. Stay well, stay safe, and always good to talk to you. We'll, of course, talk to you, I hope, closer to the elections and then post that. These are exciting times, but turbulent times as well. Thank you so much for joining me.
Always a pleasure, Rajdeep.